coming back through, going back towards the east stunt hangar. First off, I want to apologize to you Tap Talk guys. I can only do one thing at a time, and I'm having a problem with Tap Talk. I don't know how long it's going to take me. I'll get it fixed when I get it fixed. No need to tell me about it because I know all about it.
Okay, let me drill this horn out for 1/8 inch.
All right, what we're going to do today, we got 2 watchers, 1 thumbs up, 3 watchers, 1 thumbs up. That's great. You guys should be building right along with us or whatever. And today Dan's making me a horn for my flaps because the horn that I have here is incorrect. That's what it was for too.
Yeah.
1/8 inch wire. 1/8 inch wire goes in this bushing.
You're exactly right.
God, could you imagine running 1/8 inch wire?
Yeah.
I mean, I could fix that by putting a 3/32 tube inside it, but
Yeah.
yeah, I know.
You know what?
What? Oh, it sends me a message every time I log in on this phone. This was a horn that Dan made in the 90s. And it's really nice. It's just the wrong horn for this airplane. Dan used to know his stuff. Go ahead and say something. Let's see if they can hear you. Or maybe I just check it on my phone here. Oh, it's causing static. Okay, we got the static off. Sorry about that.
So how's it sound now? Any better?
I don't know. We've been running 2 minutes with static, so
Okay, give it a couple more minutes and
let's see what it sounds like.
yeah. I'm in the garage now drilling this horn out to get a 1/8 inch.
Boy, that's a clear picture.
Say what, Spark?
It's a clear picture.
Hey, Spark, how'd you get the name Sparky? I think it's... Yeah.
Come on. Maybe it's because I'm not hooked up to this hotspot here. Let's settings. Oh yeah, I am. Okay. Go back. Got no audio.
Nothing's coming through on my mic.
It might be my phone. Oh, that fixed it. So I guess all good now. They're saying all good now.
Okay.
So.
Hey, Spark, how long you want these legs in this horn?
I don't know. Long enough to go in the flap.
Is that enough?
Yeah.
Okay, you can always cut a horn.
Yeah, put the thing on.
Put it on the horn. Now, I don't know anybody that's done that before, but I'm just telling you.
Yeah.
The other thing is when you put these things together, you gotta, you think that thing's 90 degrees before the dog leg on that plan?
It's 90 degree. Actually, it's back a little bit.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
90 degrees is there. It's probably back 5 to 10 degrees. I don't know.
Yeah. That's what we're doing. Do you want to go with that?
Yeah, I wanted exactly as Billy had it.
Okay.
I want to see what the big hoopla is about this Razorback.
Well, that was the time when me and Billy, the way he flew it, I'm sure that was the...
Yeah, I know I'm live.
I'm gonna get a piece of sea temp here. I know I'm walking out of the camera all the time.
We might be having some interference here, I don't know.
It might be interference when I come walking in here.
Now I should be able to pick this up on my phone, but I can't for some reason.
Well, let me check my phone in here and see what we got going.
Oh, I know why. It's playing out in my car. Yeah, we'll just disconnect from the DOS. I was listening to Mark Levin on the way in, and Bluetooth. Yep, connected. I'll just turn the Bluetooth off. That's the deal. I couldn't hear it on my phone. It's playing in the car. Okay, let's try again.
Let me check my phone in here and see what we got going.
Oh, I know why. It's playing out in my car. Okay, we do have audio. I think I need to step the gain down on this mic because it's rather loud. It's a hard thing to do on this stupid thing. Got to have the gain on for my there we go. That should be better. Okay. Shouldn't blow you out now. We'll get over there and see what he's doing here. What are you doing?
Okay, so whatever these degrees are here,
Hold on. Let me get this
I
over.
want to bring the camera over here.
Okay. Everything's about this Thunderbolt now.
So what we're going to do is take the C-temp here and we're going to make an inside template to this angle here. So whatever the degree is, it is, but so we're going to come down here, score this. We're going to get that angle. And we're going to come out here.
Hell, the TLAR method would be fine.
No. So I've got the angle of the horn on that cut line. And then I'm going to come over here and get the center line.
Morning, Alan. That's much better. Okay. Somebody send me a 13-year-old gamer, would you? They'd have this figured out in a second.
Well, what I did with the C-temp, this angle right here is the angle of that horn. So this is going to be the template to braise this horn up.
I don't know what you did with it. There it is. So the way this is working with this long horn, I'm only going to actually put part of it in the vise here. Just have to be careful when I braise it. Not to burn your hand?
Yeah, that, and not to
nail your finger shut?
Yeah, not to braise my finger to the vise. Let's see where we want to work.
Normally this wouldn't be this difficult, but this airplane has some weird geometry in it.
Yeah, it's you know, if that's what he put on there, it's for a reason. So if you want to build this Thunderbolt true to the plan, and when Billy came up with something and he put it into this form, it wasn't something just on a whim. And there's a lot of research and a lot of stuff that went into this design that he spent years and years figuring out. So a lot of people don't realize it. They think they just buy a paper plan, but they're not. They're buying all Billy's culmination of knowledge. So you're getting more than a piece of paper. You're getting probably 40, 50 years of stunt knowledge. Okay, so that's how I'm going to set the angle. I'm not sure. I got to just be careful that doesn't move.
It'll be fine.
Yeah. So the next thing, let's see, get some flux. The other question I had for you, Sparky, with this horn, he's showing the vertical tab being centered. You just want to put it on the center?
Yep.
Okay. So the outside diameter, or the outside span of this horn is 5 inches. So let me get this in the center.
2.5.
Yep. Okay, 2.5. Now, I've done a YouTube video on this brazing stuff, and maybe somebody hadn't seen it, so we're going to do that here today. This is Stay Still 45%. Now, I've always liked to put a lot of braze in there, or a lot of flux in the braze, and it keeps the oxygen away from the metal. So I loaded up pretty good. Whatever is left over, it'll just drip off. The other thing to remember when you do these horns, if it's a funny geometry, make sure you double check the way everything needs to be before you braze it. So I come up here. This is the way it's got to be. And double check center again since I put the flux on it. Now some of the fixtures, you actually have a horn that's brazed and then you bend the wire. I always like to bend the wire first, and that way it's a lot easier. this thing's got to go forward. So the way this works, this little magnet is going to hold this 1/8" wire, and the 1/8" wire is going into the bushing hole. And that's what's going to hold this vertical tab in place while it's brazed. Get all that flux off there. This stuff, this flux, I don't know if they can see it or not, it's water soluble. So once we braze this thing, we'll set it to cool. We'll never throw it in water and quench it. I always let it cool slowly. And then
test it with your tongue.
Yeah, first your fingers, then your tongue. And then we'll clean it with water. We'll just soak it in water. Let's see where we're going to fall here. So this thing just slides back and forth. I think what I might do, I think I'm going to get this thing away from the jig just a little bit.
Yeah,
give it more room. It's pretty tight. Now, in that video I made on these horn jigs, or this horn jig, I made this out of a scrap block, and I explained it. There's a lot of things you could do different. Obviously, you'd be better off with wing nuts here. I mean, this was just thrown together and really quick to prove a concept and something to make a video on. So yeah, you could redo this, but the beauty of this thing is it sits there, you know, it's heavy enough to where you don't have to monkey with it. It'll stay upright.
Forward, isn't it?
Yeah. You gotta go back. Okay, here's my template.
And you're gonna set it on the table and it's gonna push it forward again.
No, I'll compensate for that.
If you could set it up on this block here.
Yeah, I'll get it. So all I'm gonna do is just eyeball this. I mean, it's probably accurate to, fraction of a degree. All right, that's it. So I got this piece of wood here. We'll set this thing on the edge, hang it over the edge. Double check my center again.
It's fine, it's close enough.
This is the first time I've used this torch. It's I'm going to try it out today.
Is it MAP gas?
No, just propane. And this torch is adjustable. I used to braze them without the adjustability. Strange when you can't see the flame.
Is your wife home?
Yeah, she's in there.
She know you're outside playing?
Oh, probably. She knows I'm either here or in that easy chair, one or the other. Let me get this over. Okay, I think get a little bit more heat there. What I try to do
Here,
yeah, is work both sides and get the flux to start to flow. I stick this in it a little bit. Sometimes I like to get a little flux on the braze here. And as you heat this up, you'll notice the flux, the bubbles, the moisture is cooking out of it, and it starts to get glassy. And out here it's sort of hard to tell because it's in the daylight, but you're looking for sort of an orange look to the, turn it up a little bit.
Before Tom Morris, this was your horn maker guy.
Yeah, that's how I made them. So let that cool.
And put the bushings in it.
Yeah.
They don't need to be that, I mean, they can be that long.
You cut them down, yeah. Sometimes it's easier if they're longer because you can line them up.
Right.
And then what I used to do is when the bushings went in, then I'd go up to the sanding belt and I'd sand all of them at the same time. And I made a tool to clean the bushings out.
I hope you guys are finding this interesting. Please like, subscribe, share, super chat, whatever you can do.
So this was a tool I made a long time ago. Once I sanded all these bushings, and then of course it had a burr on it. So this thing would clean the inside of the burr, it would poke it through. And then this thing was inset, and it was a sharp edge. So when I take this, it would clean the inside, and I'd rotate it, and it would cut the burr on the outside. That was my little hand deep burring tool for bushings.
Aren't you special?
This is the way this bell crank was set up in this plans. Let me get a bell crank here and I'll show you.
So we're getting the first-hand stuff, the same stuff that Billy had in his airplane. And here's the Razorback mold. I got it made up.
Okay, so this is a bell crank. I don't know if we made this at John's, but this bell crank doesn't even have the flash removed. So I made them to where these were tight, and I sort of lapped them in. And I'd put this music wire in a drill press, and I'd oil it, and I'd lap it into that bushing. They were originally designed with these little buttons I'd put on a lathe and make them as a friction fit. So the way it worked, before I do anything, I would actually solder this bushing just a little bit right up here, and then I'd clean the flux thoroughly. It'd all be clean, but it would be soldered on the top bushing. So that went into the top of this thing. See on the plans it's got that bushing. So this thing would come into the bottom, and this oilite bushing used to be sanded flush. And after Billy flew thousands of flights, he came back and said this is wearing a little bit. Nobody else mentioned it because they didn't fly as much as Billy. So I sent Billy the same bell crank, but I made a little Delrin washer that went between this and this. Now if you want to improve it, take this oilite bushing that's sticking out and leave it sticking out. And then you could probably machine another bushing that would go over the top of that with a Delrin washer. And instead of soldering this and letting that soldering flux wick in there and corrode, this was always JB welded back here. So you never had the chance of corroding this assembly with flux. So it was soldered here, cleaned. This was put on the rod.
Well, solder it up for me.
Well, wait a minute, I'm just explaining it. So anyway, that's the way this whole bell crank worked. And if you'd improve it, you could leave this and then make a bigger bushing that would encapsulate that.
How about those RC nylon bushings, RC nylon washers?
Yeah, that would work, nylon. I like the Delrin. I take Delrin and I made a little washer that would...
I don't have any Delrin. I got some RC nylon washers though.
Oh, yeah. I see what you mean, yeah. That'll work. Just something, but heck, you know what? Billy was flying thousands of flights.
Yeah, you could put that in with sandpaper, it won't wear out for mine.
Just stick this thing in there like that. And the other thing was, we always tried to keep, you know, where there's no play, you know,
Right.
keep them tight. But that was the concept there. It was solder, clean, meticulously, put it on, lap it, and this would go in and JB weld it. And let's see, you know, I was making tools, Bob, and I've got stuff here.
Wow,
I look
it's
at
tight.
this. Like, what is this thing?
That's it.
Oh, I think I was making fishing lures for somebody, and I needed to bend a wire or something. But I go through this box and I'm looking at these fidgets I made. Here's another thing I made.
See, there's one of them brass blocks.
Yeah, that was one of my first ones. I made this thing and I come back today and I still can't figure out. That's a drill bushing, but I made that for something. And it was a one-time deal, probably 30 years ago, and then I can't remember what it was. Isn't that terrible?
Not really. I mean,
I'll figure it out one of these days. So let's see what we got here. Dang, it looks like we got a horn. Yep. Isn't that pretty? So, yeah. Now, these bushings, did you want the same bushings as what's showing on the plans?
no, because he used ball links.
Yeah.
I ain't using ball links.
So what are you thinking now?
3/32 bushing.
Oh, that's what I meant. I mean, but the location.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I got you. Yeah.
Ball links are easy, but they offer some problems.
Yes, and yeah, a lot of problems.
There's another thing that I've said before on camera is that the bearing surface on the ball link is 1/4 inch, and the bearing surface on this is 3/32. Which one do you think is going to be freer?
So these are oversized, obviously. Like I said, sand them down. Yeah, when I do these horns, Bob, years ago, somebody sent in an order for a horn, and this is what I did. I made every individual one at a time for that order. I never mass-produced horns. I think I did initially, and then I got away from it. It was only for like a month or two.
We need to tweak that thing so it, grab onto it, and tweak it or whatever. It's not quite squared up, is it?
Yeah, I think it is.
Well, the way that I do my push rods, it won't matter.
Look at it. See what you think from that angle. You get a funny angle in there, it might look funny.
And
Does it look like you need to tweak it already?
it'll probably work.
You can always work it into
Yeah.
true after the fact. So is this on camera, you think?
Oh, yeah. We got 11 thumbs up, 16 watchers. Good morning, guys. Yes, a lot of first-hand experience, yep. I need to get a battery on this phone, but it's buzzing.
We'll charge it at lunch.
What?
We'll charge it when we eat lunch. All right, let's see where my wire is. I'm as bad as Bob. I used to laugh at him. He'd get on these videos and he'd be looking around for something, he couldn't find it, and it was right in front of him. I'm just as bad out here. Look, I got these slinkies all wound up.
Snip!
You read my mind. Sometimes, though, you're better off just getting a small length and cutting it. Easier to control than a whole wire. So this is the same thing. This is Safety Seal 45 cadmium-free brazing alloy.
There's no bushings in this in this one.
No, not yet. I'll show you how I did that too. So this brazing alloy is the same thing, it's just smaller diameter. And this is probably
40,000?
yeah, it's not very big. The other thing you try not to do is drink too much coffee. You drink too much coffee and then you have trouble with
Standing here.
good braise.
Doesn't look like it took. Kind of ran.
Yeah, it ran.
Did it take?
Yeah. That's what I was looking at.
There it is.
I think that brass was dirty.
Actually, or did it take? I can't tell.
Yeah.
Kind of hard to sand them little tiny things.
Yeah, I'll show you how to do it. Talking about the bushings?
Yeah.
Yeah. This sort of acts like a heat sink too. Cool. Yeah, you got extra silver on it, but it's not the prettiest thing I've ever done.
No big deal. Who's gonna see it? Except me.
Me, you, everybody.
The
watching.
world.
Yeah, it's functional. To be honest with you though, if I'd do something like that, I'd make another horn. I'd never send it out. I mean, I'd just give this away to somebody. You know, I'm probably just gonna give it to you. It's not that good. You get it. So
It'll be fine.
yeah, the little thin stuff is good. No, the mistake I made there is not cleaning that bushing to get the wick.
That big clod there is a
Braze.
is a flux.
Yeah, that's a
We'll wire wheel it.
yeah. Well, first thing we'll do is we'll stick it in water. So you get this thing and you soak it in water.
Neutralize it.
Yeah, it just washes that flux away. Let me grab a bucket here. We'll get a little hose water.
Your light's going on and off.
Yeah, it's on a motion detector.
Oh, that explains it. 13 and 13.
We're gonna fill this cup with water. Probably the only time you're gonna take this metal horn and submerge it in water.
It's a beautiful, beautiful neighborhood here. It ain't like where I live. I don't hear any gunshots.
Yeah, it's not a shooting gallery out here.
Or car windows breaking.
So we're just gonna, it's at room temp. Drop that in there. Let it soak here for a couple minutes. So the flux, safety seal, it's water soluble. You can speed up the process too with a wire brush, and see it's already starting to come off. It didn't take long for that water to get underneath that flux and get rid of it. Yeah, it's got a lot of extra braze on that bushing. I was trying to get it to flow.
It'll be fine. You'll have a washer and on each side of it and all that business. I just want to have controls like they did back in the 60s. They just drop, flop, you know?
Yeah. It's, well, the other thing, I mean, you're being true to the whole concept and the design. And I know they've got neat stuff today, you know, obviously, but you know, when you eat a great steak 30 years ago, in your mind it's great, and then you forget about it. 30 years later, you eat a steak and then you think, well, this is the best one I ever had. And it might be the best one, but the one you had 30 years ago might be better if you could set them side by side. So,
well, I'll give you a little example of that concept. When my dad had his bar, he used to take a pitcher of beer and set it out on the bar overnight. And then he would get a crock pot in the morning and pour the beer in the crock pot and get it going.
Right.
And he would steam ballpark Franks.
Oh, yeah. In the beer?
In the beer.
Yeah.
And we'd have onions. And
oh, wow.
They were the kosher type hot dog, you know?
Yeah.
All beef. And they were so good. So I called my dad and I asked him, hey, Dad, how do you say? He told me, and I just explained it to you, what exactly happened. So I did that.
Yeah. And
they didn't taste anything like what they did then.
Yeah. All it takes is maybe one little thing to be off, you know, or it could be your taste is different.
Of course, my dad cooked lobster in the microwave that was way better than any lobster you'll ever get anywhere.
Well, the trouble with the lobster they've got now, it's farm raised, so they're like crawdads. They're about the size of crawdads instead of the big old New England stuff.
His lobster tails were 6 to 9 inches long by 2 inches wide.
They weren't the crawdads like we ate the other day?
No. And, I see one. He's in that tree over there. It's on the other side of it now.
Yeah. And my neighbor, he texted me yesterday. He said, I just saw a squirrel jump underneath your truck.
Let me get this other battery and see if I'm going to do a test here, and I'm going to plug the cord back in this thing, but on a different battery. I want to know if we got any static.
So you're thinking it was the cord or the battery?
I think the battery puts out too much.
Yeah.
It's if I have it here.
We got power out here. You know, you can charge your phone at lunch.
Nope, I don't have it. I really wanted to figure that out so we could be out at the field and do that.
Well,
I'll work on it.
Well, if you're going to be out at the field or the Nats or a contest, you want to be able to get a jumper cable into that phone so you could keep it charged.
Right.
Piggyback it. That's what I do with that GoPro. The GoPro batteries wouldn't last.
Well, that's what I was trying to do here, but every time I plug it in, it makes a wild static noise.
Yeah.
And because this battery is, it's putting out some smoke.
Yeah.
I think it's too much for the phone.
All right.
I have another smaller jump pack.
Well, I used to have a good cell phone, and you could take the battery in and out of it.
Yeah.
They didn't want you doing that.
No, that way they can spy on you.
Yeah, that way they want it on all the time. So in the old days, you could just swap the battery out, throw another one in it.
In the old days, we didn't have answering machines. We didn't carry a phone. It hung on the wall. And guess where you remembered your numbers? In your head.
Yep.
Probably stored about 50 numbers in your head.
Okay, we got this thing all sweetened up. Let me run some extension cords. This is my little sanding thing over here. So we're going to buff this thing up, run it across that sander. I'll let you sand the bushes at home.
Yeah.
That way you can finalize it, you know, once you
Yeah.
pick a little bit more flux out of there. These bushings are, they're one side's really good, the other side not much silver braze on it, but it's still going to hold in there. The bushing isn't going to go anywhere, you know.
Well, you got a belt sander there. I'll just belt sand them down.
I'll let you belt them,
Okay.
and that way you can get them to where you think they need to be. I take some Scotch-Brite in there maybe on the bushings. Let me run an extension cord here.
Let me belt sand it first before you buff it.
Okay.
That'd be a good idea, don't you think?
Yep. So this trailer's got a 100-foot electrical. I drop through the floor here. And then when I plug this,
There's the horn.
it lights up the whole trailer. And if I don't have power, and then I plug the cord in the generator in my
3 days
truck.
a person can't remember his own phone number. That's right.
This would just.
We used to know all them numbers in our head.
This thing.
But you know what? I still remember my childhood first phone number. Edgewood 76491. I also remember the number to the pool store, to the hobby shop, because we were always calling them. Of course, they're no longer any good, but my mom would drill it into me and say, "You got to remember your phone number in case you get lost." I ain't getting lost.
Yeah, it was hard to get lost in those days. So this little sanding cart here is set up to where I can do it all outside, or I can move it around the shop. I really don't move it around the shop because there's not enough room to move it around the shop.
Yeah, you couldn't move anything in there. Move it in and out.
Let's see, I'll plug this compressor in while I'm out here.
Let's see, do you remember BR549? Yeah, that number was from, what the hell was the name of that show? BR549, a Mini Pearl or whatever.
All right, Bob.
Let her rip, Tater Chip. little tool and buff them out.
Okay, so this thing here, I was talking about earlier, this is what I use to deburr them. You can use an X-Acto, but this would get the inside. Maybe there's still flux in there. And then the tool would bottom out and there's a groove would cut the outside. That's it.
When you hit it with the buffer, it'll clean all that shit off. No sense in carrying around any extra weight.
So to make these things look like jewelry, no big secret here. I take some jeweler's rouge. This is it's like red color. Get the wheel all loaded up. Now eventually, if you do this enough, you'll launch this thing through the air. You got to be careful. You get this thing caught just right. Without the right angle, you're going to end up launching this thing. So get some glasses on.
I got a car buffer that I used to buff my airplanes with. If it catches the trailing edge or something, it'll flip the airplane across the room. Yeah. But I don't use that anymore.
So, soft cotton wheel, some jeweler's rouge. This is the way I made all the horns, one at a time.
And Ron would come over and look at every little one of them, wouldn't he?
Well, he came over, yeah, he was observant.
He inspected everything. Well, the thing that makes that much nicer is the drill rod polishes up a whole lot better than piano wire.
Well, you can get piano wire to polish, but it just takes a little longer. You know what? You can do the same thing, but yeah, drill rod is just beautiful.
So, this airplane, Billy's airplane, had your bell crank in it, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, never heard otherwise. He said it did. So
it was your bell crank hole, so I just put it in I don't have to drill one.
Right. I mean, if you build it like the plans, that was the setup. Now, I'm not saying you couldn't come up with something better. I mean, this is what we did back then, but
it seems to work for Billy. I mean, but that airplane is extremely light, and I don't think I'm going to be able to match that weight.
Yeah. He pulled a rabbit out of the hat every time he built a plane, somehow or another.
You got the bushings for this?
Yeah. They were just same as this. It's 3/32. Even have the lead out material. I got everything for it.
Well, let's make it up. I guess we'll worry about that other shit after lunch.
Talking about the canopy?
Yeah. Of course, I don't know. Probably need to do that. I probably do this myself, but
we'll get you going.
But I'm not on time schedule today.
You're not?
No.
That's good. I'm not any day.
Yeah. I'll get back to Dayton when I get back to Dayton. See how much nicer that is than the ball length?
Oh yeah, well, a bend, a washer, and a silver solder, and just all hand fitted, and it's foolproof. I mean, top bushing's tighter than the bottom. You know, the ball length gives you adjustability. I just wish you could get ball lengths that were rock solid, foolproof, you know.
What they do is they swell. They tighten up.
Yeah.
Bob McDonald about lost his Thunderbolt.
Yeah.
1 year.
So this is the bushing we'd actually put in this bell crank. And then what you could do, if you do a ball link at the, you can just tap this out. But if you don't do a ball link,
oh, that's right. I am gonna do a ball link.
okay, so then just run a tap through this.
I'm gonna do a ball link at the.
Yeah. So let's clean some flash off this thing.
At least that was my intention, to do a ball link at the bell crank because of the extreme angle. Doesn't that sound best?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, the ball link at the bell crank is, a lot of people, if you look at it real close, the bell crank has this axis.
And the horn has this axis.
Yeah, so if this was all you're doing, it would be okay. But what you're doing, not only are you rotating this way, but as it rotates, the horn is dropping and rising like this.
Right, it's rocking.
Rocking. Now, in the old days, they just let it slop, but if you want more of a precise fitting, you know, you can't beat the ball lengths, so you just got to be really careful when you set them up. That's my opinion. And then if you have the ball lengths, obviously they're not any good unless you can get to them, so I'd say you got to get in there and inspect them all the time. Let me get a little Dremel. I'm going to get a bit and I'll show you how to get that out.
Yeah, we're going to get set up with the right stuff on this airplane.
That sun's about ready to get us here.
Yeah. We'll be eating a steak by the time the sun gets here.
Yeah. I'm already hungry.
Can't remember where you put it, huh?
I was looking at it. Where'd it go?
I should have let you pick up that high roller while I was here. Of course, it didn't have an engine in it, but it was super light. I mean, for the size of the airplane.
Yeah. So if you guys are watching now and you're looking at this bell crank, if you go back to Sparky's videos, there's a Saturday at John's, I think with Dan Winship.
Yeah.
And you can watch this bell crank being laid up. And all the information's out there. It's just sort of scattered. And some of the stuff I've covered that we missed at John's house, I've got on my YouTube channel. And then go back to Sparky's list and get on there and wade through the Saturday at John's where we're making this stuff. And it'll all make sense. That's how it all started. And then now we're just cleaning it up.
These are the finest bell cranks in the industry. 7 grams.
Yeah, 7.5, but I mean,
7 grams.
They're time consuming. So, let's see, you wanted this bushing left out for extra support at the bottom?
No.
You want it flush? This right here?
Yeah, we'll make it flush.
Okay, so when we did it flush, spin the camera over here. Here's how I did them.
Uh-oh, the belt came off, broke. It's broken.
Yep. We got new ones. We should.
Surprised it didn't flip off when I was sanding.
Yeah. I tell you, it probably just melted off.
You think?
Yeah, with the heat. Sitting out here.
That's good to glue to the table.
Yeah. I never throw anything away. You know, old sandpaper and stuff.
That's good enough.
Getting pretty close. We'll hit it with a file.
After lunch, you're going to have to put batteries in the transmitters again. When we go to lunch, we will be back.
Yeah, I think when we come back, we'll finish this bell crank up. But when we come back, I think we're going to hack out that blue canopy plug, right?
Yeah, Junior Samples Auto Sales. That's it on Hee Haw. That's what I was trying to remember, Hee Haw. No, they didn't used to make bell cranks out of plywood. We used Perfect or Fox bell cranks, 3-inch aluminum. And we did used to bush them, drill them out, and put a brass insert in the lead outs.
Well, going back to that plywood thing, when I was just a 10-year-old kid or something, I can't remember which, I built an airplane. It was a Jetco something or other. And I run out of money by the time I bought the kit and everything, and I realized that the kit didn't come with hardware, so I wanted to continue on, and I made one out of plywood.
It worked for a little while.
Yeah, well, it worked as long as I needed it. I got rid of the plane, but I'm sure somebody got a surprise. So, but you couldn't buy plywood bell cranks, but I stuck one in a plane once. Some of the stuff I did back then is scary. You know?
Now, what'll get you mixed up, you know, they say 4-inch bell crank, this, that, and the other, slow the controls down. I can slow the controls down just as slow with a 3-inch bell crank as you can with a 4.
Yes, you're exactly right. The only thing you gain with 4 is leverage.
And you don't really need it if you have a light motor.
A lot of problems go away when it's light. So this is 100% teetotally to the plans.
Perfect. So we got to put 3 bushings in, and that's it.
Now what I did on these bushings, I took these little brass tubes. Probably don't have any left.
One right there. I don't know.
Yeah, that's the push rodder. Here they are. What I do, take these little tubes, and I had a tool that I'd flare it with.
This looks like my hinge setup. And that tool looks like my tool that I made.
Yeah. So I'd insert these things in the bell crank. I think when I was making these things, I probably had a dozen of these things under the workbench somewhere. I never went after them once I dropped them. Here's the tool that help you get this thing in there.
Give it a tip tap.
Yeah, this little press fit. Hi. Yeah, you want to be on the, you want to be famous?
You want to be famous? Come on over here.
No, I'm sure I can.
You're already rich, you might as well be famous.
Oh, am I rich? Where's that knife? How's your finger?
It's fine.
Is it?
Yeah. That one.
Oh, okay. That's good.
That's what super glue does.
Yeah.
Everybody knows about my finger.
You're famous about your finger. All right, see ya. Do you need
Okay.
pencil clippers?
No, I was just there, so I'm good. Is that where you're going? Now I take this little flare tool. Yeah, it's amazing what I don't have out here. Let me get my little hammer.
Man, this is a nice setup. We're gonna have the Bill Warwood special. What do you think is the best source for those brass tubings? I tell you, I go online, I go to Amazon, and
Well,
search Amazon, but you probably go to K&S and cut them up or whatever, I don't know.
okay, let's start over here. The oil light bushing was bought through a company that makes bushings, oil light, and it's keyed into this mold. So that's an oil light bushing. This is solid brass, it's machined on the lathe. This is a SIG eyelet, okay? It's been crimped to allow it to stay in place when you slide it without falling off, so it's got a crimp on it. These two bushings I just put in are K&S brass. This bushing that goes in the pivot is phosphor bronze bearing material. It's been turned on the lathe. So there's more than just a carbon fiber bell crank. There's a lot of stuff here that's made on that lathe, and it's all hand fit, hand lapped. You know, so it's just one of those things. It was
That's why they're $50 a piece.
well, I used to sell them for 15, 25 with the lead outs. And
A long time ago.
yeah. So here, look at this Papaw's hammer.
Yeah, I know.
I couldn't find my little tack hammer. I'm going to use Papaw's hammer. So I come over here to the,
You're gonna have to have this bushing. Are you gonna?
not yet. So I just take
Okay.
this little anvil here, and I flip it. And what I'm doing is flaring that.
He's got the same tool I got for my hinges. Looks like it came out of my toolbox. Just a piece of 1/8" piano wire with special. I got one that actually I ground that actually puts the crown
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Does that one put the crown on?
No. No, I know what you're talking about, where it flares it over the crown.
Yep.
No, this one's just to flare it.
That's because I had too much time on my hands. It took a while to
Yeah.
file that tool.
Now, Bob Hunt told me there's one thing you could do to improve this bell crank, and I agree with him 100%. That one thing was take the end of this thing and make a fork out of it.
Like a Brett Buck belt crank.
Yes. And I got so far as to make the pattern, half of the pattern, and then I went off on a tangent, so I never finished it. But one of these days, and I don't really plan to sell them, but one of these days I'm going to finish that. And it's like Bob Hunt said, can you make any money at it? I said, no, they're too labor intensive, but it's just the fact that I wanted to do it, you know. So somewhere, do you happen to see an X-Acto knife?
You had one.
Yeah, I can't see it now.
Shop gremlins come and got it.
Yeah.
Here it is.
There it is, hiding behind the mold butt. So I would use an X-Acto to run a inside cleanup.
If you go back to the old Winship Models site that's still on GeoCities, you can see him put lead outs in it and hang, or no, he stands on it.
No, I think it was Bobby Hunt's video. One of the Bobby Hunt's first videos he made, or first tapes, he was over at the house, we were hanging out, and if you get a hold of Bobby, and you get a hold of the first tape, one of the first ones.
Stunt Flyer Video Magazine.
Yeah. He's got it.
He's out of business now. I don't think he's selling that stuff anymore.
Yeah, but if you can find a friend that's got his tape and borrow it.
I got it on 8-track, but I don't have an 8-track player anymore.
Yeah, VHS.
VHS, yeah.
Okay, let me show you the lead outs here.
$15 and $15. Like, subscribe, and share. Been on an hour now.
All right. 3/32.
These Harbor Freight batteries only last 1 hour.
Now the reason Bobby was talking about doing the fork bell crank, and I think it became really critical on the electrics because there's no vibration on your controls. And what he was saying is it's got to be super free, and when you use the system here, I'm going to show you, there might be a little bit of binding involved. So one of the things I always did with this brass tube, I take it and anneal it. So I run the torch over it. And I wouldn't get it cherry red, but I heat it up a little bit. Let that cool. This is going to be the bushy material for the lead outs. So we'll give them plenty of wire here. How many feet you think you need? Too much. I'll give you too much.
Whatever.
That way you'll have enough, just in case. You know
What pound test is that?
well, when I was making them, I was 240. It's over 100-pound test, so it's. No, I think. Wait a minute. I think it's over 250 or whatever.
Oh yeah.
I think when you double it, basically you
Cut it in half. Got a good end there.
Yeah. The rule of thumb on cable is your operating poundage or your tensile operating load should be 1/5 of the breaking strength. So obviously if your breaking strength is 100 pounds, technically, out in the
20?
real world, yeah, you should be operating at a 20. And I remember when Bob was over, we strapped this thing in the vise and stood in it. That was my unscientific test.
The lead out stuff that I got is from Jack Sheets. I bought a roll of 80-pound, I guess it's just fishing leader, steel.
Yeah.
$5.
Yeah.
Now you could fly. How many feet got here? 2,500 foot.
2,580.
Yeah, you could.
Yeah, don't stand on it.
You could make you a set of lines. You could fly a 100-pound airplane.
Well, when I get done building an airplane, it'll probably be so heavy it'll need this line.
Yeah.
They say, well, your lead outs are the same size as your line. I said, yep. So this I just sort of guessed at it. TLAR.
Yep, that looks about right.
Wasn't a critical dimension.
Yeah, we won't do any molding today. We'll just do this in the canopy and
I've got one that's almost ready. What I was thinking of doing, see how it goes, is just stapling the plastic to my frame. I'll show it to you. And just do an ad hoc, you know, down and dirty test run.
yeah.
I've got everything ready to do it.
Yeah, you told me, no, I didn't make them horns. Yeah, you did. I know you did. I got a whole bunch of that stuff. I got these from Hayjack.
Yeah, I'm sure I made them for him.
I don't know why he'd use 1/8" push rod though. I suppose because he's a pretty stout builder. Let's move this around to the other side so we get a little better.
I'll tell you exactly why he's using 1/8" push rod. Because Ron O'Toole told him to.
You think? I mean, that's ridiculous, 1/8".
Well, unless he's going to do some kind of ball length, you know, he had a screw to go in there. I don't know what the deal would have been.
440 is only 332. The 440 ball length.
Is it? So I've got this annealed tube, went in the brass bushing, and
Leave enough sticking out there.
yeah, like that. And then lead outs went in it, and I'd bend it over. The beauty of this whole thing is, Bob, if something's messed up, it's all right. I'd redo it. So I'd overbend it, and I'd twist it back and forth, and I'd open it back up.
Yep.
And you keep working it. And really, you just keep working it till you get it formed, you know, into the bushing. So let's get the other end of this thing here.
Who's that? Is that Bob?
Oh. Don't recognize. Oh, it's Dave. He's my neighbor.
Yeah.
I bet he's bringing sweet corn or something.
Sweet corn?
I'm gonna drop something off. Yeah, he just lives 3 doors down. Okay. Let's get this other one through there before we lose our little eyelets. Yeah, I didn't recognize his truck at first. Hi, Dave. Oh, I bet he's got tomatoes or something. What you got? Oh, are you kidding? Are you kidding me?
No.
Wow.
You want them?
Heck yeah. Come out of your garden.
Uh-huh.
Let me see.
Does he want them? This guy's a bottomless pit. Yeah, he wants them.
Oh, wow.
Those green beans, Linda picked them while I was gone, and
Yeah.
we got a whole bunch, so.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
Oh, yeah.
We'll be eating lunch here with some of this. Okay.
I'll keep you in mind, because we can't use, I mean, I got like this one row, and
Yeah. More than
it's
you.
just prolific.
Yeah.
So it's great.
Yeah, just like everything else that you're growing.
Yeah, but there's more rotted stuff up there than there is anything else. I mean, all that moisture.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, I thought I'd give you some.
Heck yeah. Thanks,
Okay.
Dave.
I'll see you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, over crimp it and open it back up. Keep working it. The other thing you do when it's all said and done.
Uh-oh.
The other thing you do when it's all said and done, put a little oil on it.
Might want to CA the ends.
Well, we're going to crimp this thing. Okay, down here at the bottom, we're going to slide a crimp up. You can straighten that out for me. There's going to be twists in it. Okay, where are those crimps?
Right
Okay.
there. There's one.
Yeah, you take one, slide
Yeah.
it that way.
Where you going?
I was hoping you're going to hold it tight and I was just going to walk with it, but that's all right. We're good. So I'm going to come up and slide this thing up here. Does that look about right? Do you want that much out?
Yeah, because I'll probably end up wrapping it with some wire.
You won't have to.
You sure?
Yeah, we'll do something here. I'll show you what we're talking about. So when you go,
It went right there.
Yeah.
Don't stop. Yeah.
so these furls and the crimp tool are a matched pair. This is all made. This isn't something I just threw in there. This tool
Right.
is made for those crimps. And it's a whole system, and the crimps are made for,
This wire.
yeah, and it's really not called a crimp, it's called a swage.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, let me show you something real quick. We're going to take a piece of wire.
Uh-oh.
Hi.
Okay, we got bars and bars.
Okay, honey.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, hon. Bye. All right.
What does
now-
she want for lunch? Brussels sprouts and
No.
a steak?
Yeah, I couldn't get here to eat one Brussels sprout for $100.
I thought she was vegetarian.
Yeah, she's got her limit. She hates Brussels sprouts.
Man, they're good.
Yeah, I got them.
Dan's got these. Did you get the same one?
What's that? No, I
Couldn't get them.
yeah,
big?
this was just Kroger. It's
Oh.
frozen. And
Oh,
the trouble is with those ones we had,
they don't come around very often.
that's like a farmer's market deal.
He got some Brussels sprouts that were the size of $50, and we thought, oh, these are going to be bitter. Man, they were good.
I think they were half cabbage, half Brussels sprout or something, because they were like eating candy to me. And it was one of these deals in a meat market where they're what you see is what you get, you know. And then after that, it's like a farmer's market. Okay, I'm going to show you something here, Sparky. So here's what you're going to do. Hopefully you'll be able to get it. There's a hammer I was looking for.
Hey, I recognize those Jim Lee ball drivers.
Yeah, I gotta call him up and get more of them. He didn't have a full set. I was missing some of them at the Nats. So here's what I want you to do, Spark. Here's the swage. And then, now what you're gonna do, this is probably too tall for you, but you're gonna take this and you're gonna pull on it till it breaks. Do it in front of the camera. Let's see. Okay, now tell me where it broke. You were pulling 110 pounds. Did the swage come loose?
No.
So if you can double that amount of pull, that's what you got. And the swage won't break.
Double that amount of pull.
Because you got 2 lead outs.
Oh.
You see what I'm saying?
Well, that was 2.
No, you were pulling on 1.
Oh,
You were
right.
pulling on 2 swages.
Right.
So that cable will not go through that swage.
Right. And then it's going to be harder to break like that on the end because of the bushing.
Probably, yeah. So, but you were pulling whatever the breaking of that, it's probably more than that. You know, I don't know, how much do you think you were pulling on that? 100, 150?
I don't know.
You were pulling pretty hard. But anyway, I just wanted to show you that you look at the swage, you think, it's not going to hold. But the other thing, this sharp corner, and that's why I was trying to find 2 round screwdrivers. And basically what had happened, it broke on that sharp corner of the screwdriver. So there's a quick rundown of the bell crank.
All right, so we got a belt. We need to get this bushing in, and then that's done. We can go to lunch.
Yeah.
That perks Dan's ears up. Lunch! And then we'll be back to continue on with whatever we're doing. You think I can just tap that, huh?
Yeah, I mean, that's what we were doing. We'd put a 440 in it, run a 440 tap through it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just take this and flare it.
What are you looking for?
Yeah, see if it, yeah.
Get your busy worker hammer. Papaw. I will charge the phone while we're gone so there's no buzzing when we come back. Up. I tore up before I get him home.
Yeah, we don't want to kink them up. It's overcut where it's too big, and I just take off the excess.
You're gonna solder that one on the top? That?
I'll let you do that.
Yeah.
Can you do it?
No, I don't have any silver solder.
Any silver bearing solder? You have JB Well?
I have JB Well.
We can solder that for you. And one of the reasons I like doing the just a regular silver bearing solder, it seems like you don't want to heat that up with a torch and braise it, you know.
You don't?
I don't. I just do the silver bearing solder.
What is that? What is that?
4% silver.
You do it with a soldering gun?
Yeah. Or you can do a torch with just
Stay
one.
bright, but stay bright.
Yeah, it's silver bearing. Yeah, stay bright.
Okay, I have stay bright.
Yeah, that's all I'd use. And it doesn't take much, just to fill it just around the top of that to keep it from. So there's a phosphor bronze push rod bushing or whatever you ball link you could tap through there. Overflex these a little bit, open them up. But one of the things they said, they were talking about some of these things they were putting in, they were getting catches in them. These are pretty dang free. But the catch only became an issue when they were flying electric, when the idea was, I guess, that they figured out after the fact that it was a vibration of a IC motor that kept everything free. So real quick before we shut it off, I'm going to give you a quick rundown of this canopy block.
So there's the jewelry-like bell crank. And the jewelry-like horns for this thing.
So this right here, this is a, what is it, Stanley number what? Sweetheart, Stanley block plane.
Baby plane.
Yeah, it's called a block plane, I think. You can use any kind of plane. These are nice because they fit in the palm of your hand.
This is that block that I was cutting on my table.
This thing sitting in the sun took a different set. Get rid of that water.
Where is your canopy plug? I want to put it up on this plan set and see.
Should be in there on the bench, Sparky. Up there by that free flight airplane I'm working on.
Yeah.
It's between the free flight airplane and the RC airplane and the
I don't see it.
yeah, I'll come in there and look for it.
Type on 3. What is the difference between 2 and 3?
3 is waterproof. 3 is good because it's really moisture resistant. Oh, I know where it's at, right there. Yeah.
This is so close to what I need. It's ridiculous.
Hold it up to the plan and see what it looks like. I know you absolutely trying to get out of this plug here.
No, I have to have it because this ain't long enough.
Yeah.
But it's close.
So this is,
Let me see the length of this.
this is for the turtle deck, right?
Yeah.
Here, flip it this way.
No, this is the back half.
Oh, is it?
Yep.
Well, you're gonna need all this then.
From right there.
Yeah,
And we need the whole thing.
yeah.
But see, it gets cut up, and well, when you get it closer, you can see what I need. Railback, yeah. I'm thinking about taking one of my 6-cell batteries or 5-cell batteries and building some kind of contraption to power all this stuff. That battery should, you know, the 3,500 milliamp or whatever they are. You can power an electric airplane. You should be able to power a phone for a long time.
So as you can see, you know, we're getting through it, but it's quicker than sanding, less dust, the stuff isn't blowing in your face. So
It's got a really strange smell to it.
yeah, it's got a plasticky, epoxy, I don't know, it's
I've never smelled anything like it.
this came out of a full-blown shop where they make IndyCar composites. I think they've done Andretti's car. They've done funny car bodies. So whatever this tooling board is, it's something that's legitimate. This isn't something that's ad lib. This is a tooling board to use with a CNC router to actually make plugs for molds for carbon fiber race cars. And the secret to this stuff supposedly is it's high temp.
And it's smooth as a baby's behind.
Yeah, when you sand it, when you get that 600 over it, you're done. You don't have to go back and fill it, sand it, fill it. And the beauty is, you don't have to worry about a finish peeling off, or eventually if you have a mold that you finish, you pull enough hot plastic over the top of it, you're going to ruin the finish eventually. This should hold up. This is like autoclave stuff here. So I'm down to the line, or pretty close.
That was just a guess. I mean, it has to be like this, actually.
Yeah. So it just took a few minutes. So from here, we got everything laid out. Then we'll start coming back from lunch. We'll start working this in, and we'll get them a nice plug here before it's over. And I'd like to actually leave that on. I'll show you something. I'd like to actually get a canopy pulled, maybe. It'd be sort of down and dirty. So this is my plug out of the same material. Goes there, my vacuum port. And I made two top boxes. One top box where it goes over the top. Obviously it can't go past the hose, you know. But the plastic, the idea between this lid is the plastic will seal on this edge here. This will become your seal as you try to press it over the top of it. The other concept is, I'm going to test out, I'm going to have rails here that are going to screw down to this. The plastic is going to be sandwiched in between my rail and this piece of wood. This is set up to where if that doesn't work, there's going to be a little gasket here or something to seal, and it's going to seal against this. So you're going to take this once the plastic's hot, and you're just going to do this.
That's the one that's going to work. That one's not going to work.
This one's not?
No.
Yeah, this is the one, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say this doesn't work. Well, it doesn't matter. I'll just make a bigger box. You know, so the bigger box will
that would work on a box with the vacuum port on the bottom, because you're going to have to push that down over the top, the side.
So yeah, I just made once Sparky left, you know, I just put these together to. So I think this will be a viable thing. Another thing I did, I drilled these holes an inch apart, and when I put the plug on the box, I traced around it, and I made sure I put holes right around the perimeter. And usually when this stuff goes bad, it's always down here at the bottom.
Now what you're going to find, just like John found, is that this is not going to work like this. You're going to have to set this up on something
Yeah.
so that it can suck under.
No, it's already setting up. I only need this much canopy.
Okay, but what you're going to see is when the plastic
Goes down.
quenches on the corners and
Yeah.
stuff, it leaves bad wrinkles. So to get away from that, you block it up like this, and the wrinkle will be down here instead of up here.
Well, that's really, if you look at this, this isn't my canopy. This is oversized. All this is going to be cut off. Once the plastic is made, here's what I'm going to use. It's going to be like this.
Yeah, that'll probably do
Yeah.
it.
So I compensated for, like what Sparky says, if you want a canopy exactly this size, he's right. You've got to lift it up and you've got to compensate for those wrinkles. And what I did is compensated when I made this, because my canopy is actually going to be no bigger than that. So all this back here is going to be waste, and all this up here is going to be waste. So, but yeah, he's right. You've got to, if you want an exact replica, you got to compensate for, you know, different wrinkles and different ways of doing it. And so yeah, we're going to find out. It's just, it's a rabbit hole. You can go down this rabbit hole with this stuff and just, it goes on forever.
All right, guys, we're going to go to lunch, and we'll be back after lunch. Thanks for watching. Till we see you then, fair winds, tight lines. See ya. I guess that's what you want.